Hi guys, namaste. Welcome to Audio Bites podcast. Episode I don't even remember what, but yeah, it's been a while, and I'm really happy to be back. So today we have Asmi Shrestha with us. I'm really excited to have our deep Gen conversation. Hopefully,
That's a lot of pressure on me. But hi, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for thinking of me.
thank you so much for being here with us, Asmi. It means a lot. Yeah, but since we still have the pandemic going on in the midst of this chaos, we couldn't think of anybody better than you to, have as a guest, because we just wanted to dwell into topics that just weren't the chaotic, non-chaotic, like the zen, love and kindness and compassion. So I was like, yeah, we need to bring Asmi for this episode.
This word that you're repeating,
Yeah.
zen, is
Zen.
kind of putting pressure on me now.
Okay, I'm going to stop using that
huh?
if you want that. I'm going to stop using that.
No. I'm saying it in a fun way. Mm.
So what's life been like?
It's good, slow, ups and downs. That's always there. But aileko lagi it's I'm keeping it quite simple.
Simple.
Yeah. That's what I do. That's what I've been doing for some time now.
Simple. That's quite interesting. I have to tell you that there's a lot of calmness in the way that you conduct yourself. Okay? मैले off camera भनेको थिएँ that I did some fair share of research on my part खालको तर I have to tell you that I've never seen you not calm and collected. Okay?
So for that you have to come to my home. And then you have to see me in my mom's point of view, then you'll know.
Yeah, that's always there. Yeah, parents' point of view, but your child is always like messy and the chaotic halko. But I want to know because I feel it, okay? Because I'm always on the other side of the spectrum. When you say, I'm this very anxious person, and I keep on telling myself that I'm this anxious escapist, okay? To put it precise, And when I come across people who are the opposite, honey, it kind of like I find it really interesting, honey, because I just a mero exterior mata I come across at least two people, honey, I come across as very like I said, like calm and collect and stuff like that, and the exterior underneath, say there's a lot of things that's going on, honey. So I want to know like if it's the same for you or honey, like or are you this way? Yeah.
Okay. That got me thinking. So recent times, might say there's a lot that has happened. So I would say before that, before those things happened, I would say the person I was was quite different than who I am today. So back then probably I couldn't even recognize who I truly was. I'm not saying that I know completely who I am today, but back then I was not even trying. Right now I'm trying. So probably there are many who have met me back then and they have this impression that, she's this kind of person. But because you've met me now, that's why you have that impression of me. Because these days I've been trying to get into that depth of finding myself. And hopefully it's working and I'm able to show the world who I actually am without feeling that pressure of getting, judged or trying to prove any point. Like, okay, this is who I am. So I'm letting go of that hesitation and resistance. So I think that's how you see me now, hopefully.
But so do you mean that you're in a process of healing right now? Because like you said, there's growth ko aspect pan lera ayo, you've learned so much khalko. You were a different person then, but you're a different person now, Ansani. So do you think it's a process of Ansani, like healing khalko, like the self-acceptance, self-care, self-love, practicing consciousness, stillness, most importantly?
Yes.
Do you think it's that?
Hopefully it's that, because that's what I want to achieve. See, I don't want to be in that place where it's all calm every day.
Yeah.
I know life is going to keep throwing we're going to face all kinds of situations, and we're going to have our highs and lows, but yeah, I'm trying to just find that spot where I can I'll just know how to take control of my emotions or the many things.
Yeah.
But whenever I start talking about all this, it gets very heavy on me. So it's very difficult to
kind of
put it into words. So I wish you could just get into my head and speak for me, but there's a lot of I'm still trying. त्यो गाह्रो हुन्छ एकदमै ठ्याक्कै भन्नको लागि चाहिँ, but I don't know if you're
No, I think I kind of get you, because I feel like I'm in the same phase in life where I'm trying to kind of heal. I'm trying to kind of sit with my emotions, the good, the bad, the worst, all the events, the past events, the future, whatever. So I feel like I'm in the same process, and that's the reason why.
Heal भन्ने word like कसरी लिन्छु भने म it's a process के आउँदै जाँदै गर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ. सधैँ म अब अहिले काम छु भने म सधैँ त्यही अनुसारले कन्टिन्यू गर्न सक्दिनँ होला. There are days when I'll be reacting, but that doesn't mean that all the things that I've worked on has gone to waste, so
yeah, that's true.
त्यसलाई चाहिँ मैले एक्सेप्ट गर्न सिक्दै छु के अहिले.
Yeah, because I think, like you said, nothing is absolute in this world. There's so many truths, there's so many variables, there's so many elements that you want to cater to. And sabai kura right or wrong or black and white, everything is grey. So it's a spectrum, So if some days you're not calm, it's fine. If some days you're like super calm, to your level of nirvana ma pugi jasto bhaye pani, it's fine, you know what I mean? But don't you think, like, now that we've mentioned all of these heavy words, like the big words, do you think it's a part of a spiritual journey for you? Because I sense a lot of spirituality here.
Not that I would say it's not, because I have been inclined towards it. Especially, I think, in this pandemic, that's when I got time, because before that, there was a lot of distraction happening, and I think it's happened to not just me, but to many. We've gotten that time to sit down and face our fear and whatnot. Everybody has done that. So I think in this pandemic, I was able to reflect on those things, and pandemic I got to work on it, but the realization part had begun before that. So I would say, getting there, but not fully immersed in it yet, because there's a lot to it. So I won't say that I'm fully there yet, or maybe I don't know if I have plans to fully be there or not. But I'm just finding my way slowly and see where I like it, and that's where I will take rest.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because when people when I come across people with whom I can like really sit down and talk about or decipher situations or circumstance in life and their causes and conditions and all of that. There's so many people I've come across who are in the pain body. They're in a very suffering state of being and all of that. So it's very interesting because मेरो लागि चाहिँ, like you said, तिम्रो लागि pandemic मा चाहिँ it gave you that space and time to actually sit down and work on it. But it began before that, I know. And I feel like that's what is needed in the first place to get into this path of calmness and
that point of realization.
Yeah. I think that recognition is very important. I feel like when you're aware, that's like, I don't know, like fighting the first half of the battle, okay? Like you'd have to be aware.
Could be.
Yeah. So I feel like awareness is gonna take you a long way. And I think it requires a degree of wisdom for you to actually recognize that and take on to that path.
So for me, it actually began because of some experiences in life that I was probably not willing to face. I was not expecting it to happen, but life threw some circumstances at me, and that's when I was first you get completely shattered up. You just don't know how to accept it. and there comes a point where you struggle so much, then you start questioning, and then that's when you start finding things out. And मलाई चाहिँ त्यसरी सुरु भएको थियो के. So अझै to be very specific, it started after 2017. So that's when it began for me. That's when I started looking at things in a different way. एउटा कुरा चाहिँ I lost this very special person. So त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ अझै सुरु भएको. And I honestly feel like death is something that really, something so strong that it can teach so much about life. So मलाई चाहिँ त्यसरी सुरु भएको थियो त्यो पोइन्टबाट. अनि after that every bit of experience, you know, I started just collecting, and then त्यसपछि सुरु भएको मेरो लागि चाहिँ.
We've also discussed this off camera, I know that I want to ask you if you're an empath, Asmi. Tell us about that.
I didn't know I was until I came across this term. Then I started, you know, exploring about it. And also I came to know about this from my boyfriend. एकदम boyfriend भन्ने word फेरि यस्तो weird लाग्ने के.
Why?
I don't know. I'm very awkward with these terms, but I came to know about this from Sanam. So Sanam and I, we really, you know, dive deep into the
spiritual arena.
That's how we connected. And he introduced me to this word, empath. And so he's also we're in a very similar zone. So he himself felt like he was an empath. And that's when we were discussing. And that's when I also realized, oh yeah, you know, this is the reason why, you know, every time I head out and talk with people, I come back home with all this energy, and I feel that need to stay home for so many days. And when I look around, people wouldn't just understand, you know. But Sanam र म नै कुरा गरे यो बारेमा कति. अनि that's when I was like, maybe yes, I am, you know. That's why but it comes with a very big consequence, being an empath. Are you an empath? Do you think you are?
Not to your degree, for sure.
Once you learn, I guess, you learn to protect yourself. I think that's when maybe you've learned to just, you know,
I think
your own.
I think for me, it was the other way around. Okay, you know how people are an empath. People are empaths first, you know, and then they understand about, you know, like you said, timi energy ekdam observe garcha ni ta, haina? And it takes a toll on you. You know, it's a lot of, I don't know, like it's a lot of weight on you, okay? So you understand that, and then you try to create that balance or that boundary for yourself, and your mental, emotional boundary, right? So to me, like I say, I had to practice otherwise, okay? You know, like I was never, like, I couldn't really feel it as a human khalko, you know, the level ma. Mere lagi चाहिँ I had to learn kindness and love and compassion over the years, okay? You know, like I didn't know that it was that powerful. I always knew that it existed, you know, love, compassion, kindness, or भन्ने कुराहरु, topics हरु. तर I didn't know that it was that powerful, okay? You know, so it's been like कति भनौं, ever since I started meditating, to be honest. I understood the power of it. I understood that it's one of the most powerful things in the world, you know? When you're kind, and when you can love, and when you can show, when you can be compassionate, or genuinely compassionate, or genuinely all of these things, then it has a lot of potential to it, okay? You know? And that's when I would say, like, I think I can say that I am an empath, you know? But you know, Asmi, it's okay, that it's a lot of, it takes a lot of toll on people who kind of process experiences or informations on people's behalf, okay? You share their experiences for yourself, and you go back home, you feel heavy, you want days to yourself and all of that. So how do you create that balance? Okay, how do you maintain that boundary for yourself?
So before I didn't know how to.
Yeah.
So that's when I told you that I would come back and just, block the world and stay in my own zone. But after a point, I realized that, so I tried understanding in what situations, I would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So I had to do it because I couldn't risk to, just drain myself out every time.
Yeah.
So after doing that, so मैले चाहिँ त्यो सिचुएसन्सहरू अभोइडै गर्न थालेँ. I don't know whether you call it escaping or not. Firstमा चाहिँ for some time, because I had to recover myself from it. I completely avoided those situations, and there was a time when I just stayed home and did nothing to recover myself from it, because I was in limelight for some time. There was a point where I was in, त्यस्तो विधि त होइन, तर सडनली एउटा अब आएको थियो. सो त्यसले गर्दा चाहिँ सायद मैले एउटा पोइन्टसम्म रियलाइजै गरिनँ कि all that was storing inside of me. अनि त्यही 2017 पछि चाहिँ मलाई अलिकति I took a break and I was staying home for some time. अनि त्यसपछि चाहिँ I felt like I detoxed. अनि त्यसपछि came to know about these terms, empath, this, that. त्यसपछि चाहिँ अनि अहिले चाहिँ म बाहिर गएँ भने I just tell myself that, okay, यो सिचुएसन हुनसक्छ. So I go prepared. And then I know कतिसम्म आफू नि सेयर गर्ने, कतिसम्म लिने नलिने, त्यो चाहिँ म गरिहाल्छु. अहिले चाहिँ अलिक कन्सियसली नै गर्छु क्या. त्यो बेला चाहिँ अलि छिट्टै क्यारिड अवे हुने, क्यारिड अवे भएपछि एकदमै धेरै भित्र गएर चाहिँ अनि गाह्रो भएपछि चाहिँ अनि त्यो हुन्छ. तर अहिले चाहिँ अलिकति I know how to protect. So that's what I do. And then share. So I come back home and then share. And Sanam and I talk so much, and I feel like this is such an important part of life.
Yeah, that's true.
Not putting any kind of pressure on anyone that you have to have it, but when you share and when you talk, when you have someone who can relate with what's going on in your head, it's like you can just take it all out, and your mind then can create space for other things. सबैको लागि चाहिँ म भन्दिनँ. Not everybody feels things so deeply. There are people who can just shake it off and they can begin again. They don't even have to begin again. They just go with the flow. I look at those people and I'm like, wow. I've never been one of them. I thought I was, but I don't think I never did good that way. So अहिले चाहिँ त्यो part चाहिँ I've realized and I'm sticking to it अहिले.
But do you think, like, तिम्रो लाइफमा हुने इभेन्ट्सहरू होइन, सर्कमस्टान्सहरू, सिचुएसन्सहरू, everything has an opportunity cost नि त. Like when you go for something, there's always something that you lose भन्ने जस्तै कि. So like अब at least for me हुन्छ नि, मलाई चाहिँ अहिले आएर चाहिँ I don't know, like for the past few years, it was quite difficult for me to kind of assert my mental and my emotional boundaries. Okay, it took me a while, and I'm still learning how to assert those for myself. Because it's healthy when you do that for yourself, I know. तर त्यो गर्नै मलाई कति टाइम लाग्यो कि, and I'm still learning खासमा चाहिँ. अनि when you do that, I know, you kind of, I guess in the process of doing that, you kind of build an armor for yourself, like so that you don't get hurt or you don't get त्यो एकदमै emotionally draining नहोस्, so that you don't run out of your emotional and your mental reserve, and you want to protect your reserve for yourself, अनि so when that happens, do you think you also miss out on the joy, the fun, the everything, the whole package, like the good and the bad and the worst one is do you think you kind of miss out on those aspect or elements of life?
Okay. Okay, you got me thinking. So त्यो पार्टले चाहिँ अलिकति त्यो कस्तो भन्दाखेरि I do think of it and I at times question like why am I this way and त्यो चाहिँ हुन्छ definitely हुन्छ but I've been there and then I think अब म त्यो सिचुएसनमा एकदम कम्फर्टेबलै हुँदिनँ भने why to force myself you know त्यो हो के अनि I just feel like what's right for you and what you're meant to experience it'll come to you and that's it like you can't experience every bit of it. There are things that's for you and they'll come to you and you can make the most out of it. You don't have to go running after everything and that's what applies to me I guess. Again not speaking for everybody but that's how I want to live now. I've done the other part but अब चाहिँ I'm good with this and if I'm confident about it I think it's okay. Hola.
That's quite amazing because I always struggle with this Untani. Mere lagi the opportunity cost is always there in everything, okay? You know, like I don't know, the sense of it also talks a lot about my need of control in life Untani or life situation, whatever the elements in life Untani. Ani ke bhayo bhanne हैन like what if I lose out on this one जस्तो हुन्छ के you know it's very I don't know like I think it's a conditioning पनि होला
pattern.
What do you do? Then I guess I sit down and meditate because that's the only time when
you can question yourself ni. And then more you reason and more clear you become so anything happens just sit down and question yourself then you'll just get your answer. I think confusion happens when you're focusing more on the outward you know the outer things. So if you sit down and talk to yourself and I'm sure you'll get your answer. But having said that I do have those days question ta bela belama ta garchu तर again I come back to this same thing over and over again then I'm good where I am today and I have gone through so many experiences to come to this point and now I know that I'm not going to compromise on this for anything. You know who you are. The other person can't come and tell you who you are and what you want. So अब चाहिँ मैले चाहिँ त्यो कुरामा चाहिँ अलिकति आफूलाई माइन्ड मेकअप गरेर अलि स्ट्रङ त्यो पार्टमा चाहिँ मलाई आफूलाई अलि स्ट्रङ बनाउन खोजेको पनि छु र आई थिङ्क भएको पनि छ पहिलाको कम्पेयर.
But how do you practice I am in life, okay? Like how do you exercise that? Because for me, it took me I always intellectually I always understood that, you know, like the I in the identity or the self in myself is always it is an illusion, you know, it's never there, right? You're always beyond your form and everything is just an illusion. Intellectually I always recognized it, okay? But emotionally I always struggled and I still struggle with it and that's the reason why I try to practice acceptance as opposed to resignation. I try to be more present like timle bhane jastै हुन्छ नि like now हुन्छ नि like I am this now so nothing's gonna matter जस्तो हैन अनि like when you say it sounds like you actually practice it, okay, you know, because for me it's quite difficult.
Consciously गरेको चाहिँ त्यस्तो विधि चाहिँ होइन. अब अलिअलि there was a time when I just listened to many thoughts and ideas coming from different people. तर त्यो गर्दाखेरि पनि धेरै कन्फ्लिक्ट हुन थाल्यो कि दिमागमा सबै कुरा लिएर त्यसपछि चाहिँ just pushed away everything and then I started listening to my own voices. अब म त्यति धेरै अब अहिले भन्दाखेरि एकदम कम्प्लेक्स साउन्ड गरिरहेको छ होला तर एकदम कम्प्लेक्स पनि त्यति बनाउन त खोज्दिनँ आफ्नै त्यही भने नि आई लाइक टु किप इट सिम्पल जस्ट क्वेसन इट धेरै पनि सोच्दिनँ अनि त्यसरी लान्छु कि तर म एकदम धेरै त्यो आई एम भने फनी थिङ इज अस्मीको मिनिङ संस्कृतमा आई एम
Damn, I love it.
तर अस्मी भन्दैन रहेछ आस्मी हुँदो रहेछ आई एम रहेछ क्या मेरो नेमको मिनिङ तर यो वर्डले जसरी भन्यो नि तिमीले आई एम म कति सोचिरहेको हुन्थेँ क्या यो वर्डको बारेमा आई एम भनेर नाउ द्याट यु सेड इट तर त्यही हो
Yeah, it sounds very interesting because it's probably मेरो लागि personal standpoint, but I'd say I think you all these untani, a lot of you sabai thoughts or your questions or answers or aune karan pani is because I think a lot ke until maybe I need to kind of brush it under the carpet just so.
Kaile kai that helps ni na.
A lot of time it helps to be honest. Yeah, kaile kai is chaotic
into depth. You go into depth, but then you realize that the answer is right there and you're just digging too deep. So at times, again, that also helps. So it depends. Kata kun bela ke garne anir.
Hunato, I think, okay, I've recognized this one thing which I think is very, at least mero lagi say, it was very revolutionary, you know? The fact that your underlying objective of healing unsani or practicing consciousness or stillness or calmness or all of that put together shouldn't have an objective of reaching somewhere, okay? You know, the whole point is enjoying the journey, you know? It's the process that you have to kind of, you know, like sit with it, you know, not the outcome of it or not the end result of it, okay? You know? So that's the answer just to bani unsani. Yeah.
Being present.
Yeah, being present. The power of now. Eckhart Tolle should sponsor our podcast.
Power of now.
The power of now. It's amazing, yeah.
Try reading it, but
I have read it. Yeah.
Full.
Yeah.
म चाहिँ एउटा पोइन्टसम्म ग्रास्प गर्छु त्यसपछि चाहिँ I have to just find my own interpretation for it के त्यो त्यसपछि चाहिँ I let go of it धेरै म चाहिँ त्यस्तो गर्छु एकदम फुल चाहिँ खै अब त्यो एकदम त्यो डेप्थमा नि जान्छ एउटा कोर चाहिँ लिने त्यसपछि चाहिँ अब आफ्नो लाइफमा कसरी इम्प्लाइ गर्ने भनेर चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ मैले छुट्टै गर्छु तर या पावर अफ नाउ वाज pretty heavy on me त्यो पढ्दाखेरि अलिक गाह्रो लाग्यो
it really helped me to be honest recently I was feeling really low I was really low on my mental and emotional reserve. I was running out of it to be honest you know and I just didn't know how to kind of like I knew logically say you understand what to do and what not to do. Your brain, your mind, strategy, all of those were like well patterned and well structured, but emotionally, bodily, biologically, physically, no sakne ke.
You know all the right things, but you don't know how to do it.
Yeah, you don't know, or maybe like you just maybe life ma isto like where point fees where you just don't have it in you to accept things for what it is, okay? You know, you understand the power of acceptance, but you just can't accept it, okay? You know, like...
What do you do?
Like I said, I meditate.
You meditate?
Yeah, I sit down to meditate. That's the only time when I can cancel my mind, my brains, and actually mute all those thoughts.
Okay, but how do you meditate? Do you just... for you, is it like sitting down?
Just sitting down.
With your... legs crossed all by yourself,
like just sitting down with my
yesterday it happened to me so alikati garo time airahcha but not ekdam extreme garo ta haina tara my mother is not doing so well so त्यो कारणले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ मलाई अलि एकदम कस्तो हेभी भइरहेको थियो के so yesterday I realized that I had just forgotten to sit quietly something was always going on in my head and it was affecting me and I didn't realize it. So lockdown ko bela chai I was meditating almost every day but ever since you know things have started going back to its own you know त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ मैले मेडिटेट त्यस्तो विधि गरिरहेको थिएन रहेछ अनि हिजो चाहिँ एकदम त्यो कस्तो फिल भयो हेभी अनि आई वाज शावरिङ एन्ड I just wanted to relax. I felt like I was meditating while showering.
Yeah, that happens.
So those little things also help at times, you know.
Oh, yeah,
The
that's
being
true.
mindful. and
Yeah. Journaling. Journaling is the best.
Journaling, yeah. At times I do, not always. But even if I write few lines,
Yeah.
that helps.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't have to write the whole thing.
yeah. Yeah,
So yeah.
So, we all know Asmi. Scandalous one only. No, I just wanted to talk a bit about your romantic relationship with Sunny.
Romantic.
Yeah, the romantic relationship. Tell us, how do you define love?
Love.
Yeah. Now that we're talking about spirituality and kindness and compassion, love,
Why do I
lapati.
have this? Why is it so difficult for me to express about
Yeah.
things that matter so much to me? I don't understand why. Because love is something that I've always kept up here, above everything. I think मेरो life को एकदमै one of the most important values is love. So, can you understand by that what love means for me?
Yeah, it's really important to you.
Yeah, like it's above everything. Above everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just wish for every human that they experience love to its fullest. And I feel like everybody should. And that's what completes a human being, just Laksamalai.
Sure.
That's what I think of love.
But people tell us all the time that love is painful. Once again, love is suffering. So how is it? How is that love definition of that love or narrative of that love different than yours or to yours?
So suffering is there, but it comes after. No, I think that's a very narrow way of looking at love. Suffering,
Yeah.
I think they're just telling it by some experiences that they've been through. If they fully let go of all the hesitation and if they see love that way, I'm sure they won't see suffering. They're missing out on that particular way of looking at it.
Yeah. But
That's the beauty,
But do you think it's love? I mean, the reason why people call it suffering is also because, at least in terms of romantic relationships, honey, there's a lot of possession, there's a lot of wanting control over one another, honey. There's a lot of...
that's lust.
That's lust.
No, that's not love.
But
It can be. So, for the same person, you can probably have both. In my opinion, not speaking for everybody.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. So there's love, there's lust. The part where you feel like you need to have control, not pointing it out to you.
Yeah.
But see, it has happened with everybody. It has happened to me. It has happened in this relationship as well, where I'm the happiest, the relationship I am in right now. I feel like I'm experiencing love in the best form, the way I am experiencing. If we're talking about romantic relationship, but there has been times where I have experienced lust too, where control, the need to control is there. But then, when that has happened, we recognize it and we talk about it. We discuss it. By the time we're discussing it, we're like, oh wait, what was I doing?
Yeah.
When you break it down, that's when you realize that that was not love. That's a completely different part of me. Probably that's coming from my ego.
Yeah.
Now, ego is again a different topic.
Yeah.
But I think that comes from ego, the need to control and the way that we call it suffering. I've had unsuccessful relationships too. And now when I look at it, I would say I was not loving in a way that I wanted to just set the person free, or I wanted the best for that person. There was a part of me where I was satisfying, there was a part where I was satisfying my own ego. So that's where the difference is.
Yeah.
So you need to recognize the differences. Love, ego, lust. That's when, and then then when you see all these things, I'm sure you can also recognize that part where which is the purest out of all. There's a part of you where you just love, where you just want to give that affection or something, त्यो एउटा माया चाहिँ एकदम unconditionally दिन खोज्छ नि. I think that is the part where love is. Like, just filter everything out and then you will see where the love is. So maybe people are mixing it all up.
Yeah. But do you think you can actually practice unconditional love?
Unconditional?
Like, like you only give and
it's
you
a
don't
continuous
take anything.
effort.
Yeah.
I know. It's not like you do it for once. You do it once and then it's done for your life. I don't think it works that way. You have to work on it every day with every new experience because you don't know what's coming next in life. And your mind continuously keeps running. Yeah. And then there's your ego continuously telling you to do something. So amidst all this, I think you need to keep recognizing what love truly is. And that's how you do it. It's a continuous effort. I don't think one can do it once and then just
unless you've reached to a point of nirvana, then you can. Otherwise it's quite difficult. Like for normal people like us who's like halfway there, it's already like 1 foot in 1 foot out khalko, at least for me it's quite like okay, it's very interesting because you can, like for example, when I see people in relationships and at least romantic relationships, and I find it like really admirable for couples who try really hard to put that, like you said, the continuous effort to just share and not expect anything in return. I think that's amazing. But also there's this side, where my mind is always like constantly pointing it out. Okay, like if like how also like Osola quote korse because Osole bhaneko थियो के कि you don't fall in love right now and you don't love anyone, you are love, right? Okay? So when you are love, you welcome people to come and participate in your process or in your journey, and only then the other person or whoever has participated is free, okay? So then like there's no strings or there's no thread to.
That's one beautiful way to look at it.
Yeah, like there's no attachment, there's no addiction, because love is none of those. Love is free. It's freedom, I know.
Only when you love yourself is when you can truly love the next person.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that if you become that person, where you don't actually have to tell the other person that you love them or we don't actually personalize the other person, okay? So when that happens, your love becomes very equal, Nita. You know what I mean? So then you don't have the need to be in a relationship with anyone, You don't have to be in anything with anyone, honey. You're just you, and you welcome people to come and, like be in your bubble, for lack of a better word, So when that happens, or if and when that happens, do you think that will happen?
Not with me. But if it happens with someone, then I would say just experience it. I mean, I'm no one to say that it doesn't work that way. And if you want to experience it, and if that's what you think, gives you that peace of mind, then I would say maybe that's what it is. तर मेरो लागि चाहिँ मैले अघि जति पनि भने मैले चाहिँ त्यसरी सोच्छु. But I think every human being is free to think in their own way.
Yeah. Because a simple way of one timle. Like you put it very simply. Yeah. It's not complicated. You don't have to think it through. It is what it is, nothing more, nothing less.
I think when things start becoming too complicated, my mind just resists it. And then I just filter out all the complicated part, and I take that part which makes sense to me, and I feel like that's how I want to keep it. I don't want to understand everything in the world because I don't know if I'm even capable of it or not. But
yeah.
whatever my brain can take, whatever as a person makes sense to me, I'll take that part in. So I think that's how I respond to you.
Yeah, I think that's also how you keep yourself sane. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it's a lot of information to take in. It's a lot of
So much is
knowledge,
happening.
yeah.
If you look around
Yeah.
you, there's like crazy stuff happening everywhere. And see, how I think is everybody thinks that there was one line. Everybody thinks that they are the center of the universe because you only feel your emotions. I only feel mine.
Yeah.
I won't be able to feel yours. So त्यो कुराले गर्दाखेरि so much has been happening around, especially in this time of time of the world where everybody wants that validation and everybody wants to prove that I am something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you see so much happening around. So for me, I'm like, I just
Take a step
pull
back.
myself in a corner and I want to observe what's happening.
Okay, so when like now that you're talking about all these pressure and external validation and stuff like that, how do you kind of channel or reframe your inner dialogue of negative emotions and negative feelings, the negative voice honey, that's inside of you? How do you kind of maneuver it to your benefit?
Negative emotions.
Yeah.
So I've been learning, not that I can confidently say that this is how I do it. I break down. There are dark days like where I just shut myself off and don't say much, and I'm just storing it all, And then there comes a point where I just... So this is me. And then a part of me just steps out and looks back at myself. Then I see, oh God, what have you done to yourself? Because at times we just complicate things so much, Nita. But again, it's okay to be in that zone for some time because that also has its own teachings, right? So I let it be, and then there comes a point where I myself just step out and reflect on what I've been doing, and then I'm able to. So, like you said, all the good things, but you don't know how to handle yourself in that circumstance. You don't know how to apply. So I think it takes some time to take that pause and remind yourself of those things that you've learned so far, because that's what learnings are for, right?
Yeah.
And it takes some time to apply. So that's how I slowly do it. It's not always like I feel bad and then I immediately snap out of it. No, it's not like that. I take my own time. And and also because I keep mentioning Sanam because he's been such an important part of this whole thing, So it's been so his presence has made a lot of difference for me to be able to figure out what's going on in my head. So whenever something like this happens, he also helps me question things. And he helps me get to the core of that problem. And then when I do that, that's when I'm able to just get myself out of it. And then realize that, okay, next time it happens, how will I handle it? What do I do? So that's what I do. But having said that, there has been some really dark times where I have compared myself so much, and where I've really underestimated myself, that I'm still struggling with. But all this has really troubled me in the past so much. And now I'm finally able to look at it in a different way. Slowly. Still happening. It happened. It started back in 2017. It's right now. It's not exactly 2017. This bit, I think around 2018. It's 2021, and I'm still working on it. So yeah, that's how it's been.
I really like how you mentioned about the comparison thing, okay? Because I think it's really important for all of us, and especially I'm a younger generation, to understand that comparison literally is a thief of joy. You know, it makes you feel miserable and terrible, and I think it has to start from the very roots. After to growing up days, which is very imperative, you know. But like also reshape karne. How do you I don't know, like help build a child with a healthy set of mind, okay? So I think that's very important, and that has to be kind of algiti pressured upon khalko, you know. It's quite interesting.
But and funny thing is, it has happened with most of the people, right? So
and I think, you know, like when that happens, when a child is like infiltrated with all those things, it becomes a habit after a point, right? I know. I think science sees it, okay? I don't know, like I read some article. When timi 7 वर्ष हुने बेरसम्म चाहिँ हैन, whatever you've been fed with becomes your repetitive pattern, okay? I know, it becomes your conditioning, right? And when it becomes your conditioning, it becomes your biological के भन्छ pattern जस्तो, हैन? And when that happens, it's very difficult for you to, as an adult, at least for me, you know, there's so many things that I have to literally sit down to like tell myself that this is the conditioning that I've been infiltrated with, okay? This is the pattern that I have to stop reiterating it.
That becomes a part of your personality.
Yeah, very much, you know.
Then it takes a lot of time to get yourself out of it.
Yeah, so and I feel like most times when I sit down to kind of decipher all these you know, your patterns or conditionings or I mean, I get to the core because I sit down to decipher it, right? But the core never gets fixed, just okay, you know. So over the years, I've also kind of understood that your pattern and your conditionings are always gonna be there, you know. The only thing you can do is kind of be stronger than your patterns, you know, kind of trying to win over your patterns. Otherwise, I'm always gonna be repeating. The things that I do in regular days, if I really sit down to understand it, you know, it goes all the way back to my childhood,
right?
Okay? You know, it connects all the way back to my childhood, okay? So what I'm saying is that it's always gonna be there, and I feel like there should be a radical, I wouldn't say normal acceptance, but a radical acceptance of the fact that it's always gonna be there with you. You know, the only thing you can do is kind of win over it, just I would not give them the upper hand. You know, like you should have the upper hand, just okay.
But
you know?
It comes from a lot of experience and battling the feeling out. To etiquette and you have to go through all the negativity and all the trouble that it causes you. And that's when you are able to sit down and question, why did it happen to you? Why is it happening? How did it happen? I'm sure that's how you got to that point too, right? So yeah, I think every negative experience has its own teachings. Yeah, right?
That's true. Like suffering is
we
a way.
At times say it like, why did it happen to us? We question it.
Yeah.
And then when it's over, you realize that it had such an important role in shaping you up. So I think that's how you need to look at things at times.
But you know what? Like I said, recently when I was feeling like really low and stuff like that, you know. And when you're feeling low, when you're in that pit hole, you know, it's really, really, really difficult to find that silver lining for yourself. Okay? You know, like you understand that it's really important for you to have that that voice of positivity, something that's gonna lift you up, but it's so difficult.
You just dig the hole around you, and you realize later that you're just in this big hole with no one to just take you out of it. But does it happen to you that you suddenly realize and you snap out of it and you're able to see it?
Like, okay, it's very interesting because mero lagi chahi, you know, I never kind of snap out of it. But when I'm like really, really low, you know, when I know that I've hit the rock bottom khalko, I kind of surrender to the situation, okay? I kind of
Oh, yeah.
submit to it,
Oh, yeah.
you know? And then it's like the out of body experience by just okay, you know, and then you kind of you see that you have the layer
Yeah.
of separation.
Yeah.
You understand your pain, you understand your hurt, but you also kind of observe what you're understanding, just what you experience, okay, you know. So when you have that space of separation for yourself, then you kind of submit to it, and then it was an interesting experience for me altogether.
You explain it so well. Like you break it all down, and then you just made me walk through that whole experience. It was so nice to hear.
Yes,
because that's what exactly happens, right?
Yeah.
So for me, when I say snap out, no, what you just explained, that's the process. And त्यसपछि बल्ल last ma चाहिँ snapping out means you realize, and then अघि मैले भन्थेँ नि, a part of me just comes out and looks back at myself, and that's how I push myself again to get out of it.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. मलाई त्यो हुने बेलामा पनि I was like, damn, हुन्छ नि.
But do you take help of anyone else around you?
I make sure that at least from my part, you know, I am read well, I'm well informed, and I'm well researched, okay? You know, so that these are the things that I fully rely on, khalko.
So anyone, no person around you too?
Recently I signed up for a therapy khasma chai.
Oh, like that.
So yeah, and त्यसपछि चाहिँ तर therapist मा जानु भन्दा अगाडि पनि I make sure that I know very well that what I'm going through, khalko, okay? You know. So that's the reason why I keep on telling people that logically I understand, you know, but I also am able to separate मेरो logics with मेरो emotions, or you know, the kind of patterns that I've been infiltrated with, or the kind of patterns that I practice. Okay, so मेरो shortcoming does not के भन्छ stick to मेरो logics or मेरो rationale हुन्छ नि. मेरो shortcoming or मेरो inability to kind of practice मेरो logic is because of my conditionings हुन्छ नि, because I can't accept it, okay? You know. So my acceptance मा चाहिँ, that's why I find it like really intriguing and really interesting when I come across people who put it very simply, okay? You know what I mean? So they understand, but I also want to know how they exercise acceptance हुन्छ नि. So when you practice acceptance in your life, then you are kind of out of the karmic laws जस्तो, okay? You know, like the action reaction बाट तिमी बाहिर निस्क्यौ नि त, हैन? So there's a lot of acceptance there, you know. That's when the power of now comes in. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it's very तिमीले भन्दा पनि like it's really interesting to me हुन्छ नि. Yeah. कतितिर बोले?
No. I was actually, no, I mean, so everybody is different, Nida.
Yeah.
This is how you look at things, and you didn't choose to be this way.
Yeah.
It comes to you itself with your experiences. So you have your own ways. I have my own way. But I feel like we have this common point which we both know what we're talking about, but the way you explain things is different. The way I explain is different.
Yeah.
And I think that's how the world is, you know?
Yeah.
You meet different kinds of people. And that's what I've learned recently. Otherwise, I've always kept it this way that if I am a certain way, then I want everybody around me to be the certain way. Otherwise, it's not gonna work for me. But yeah, the beauty is in finding that core where it connects you. So त्यसको लागि चाहिँ I'm building that perspective now.
Yeah. But you know what? I have to tell you before we end the podcast, and I read this very interesting line somewhere, I don't remember where, but it said, you can't really be sensitive to pain without being sensitive to pleasure, okay? Or I think it's the other way around. You can't be sensitive to pleasure without being sensitive to pain, okay? You know, and that was like mind-boggling. Just to give me like, wow, sorry, I'm going to practice.
You can't be sensitive to pain?
You can't be sensitive to pleasure without being sensitive to pain, you know? So these are the two ends of a spectrum, and then you have to kind of merge it just okay, you know, and that's where the balance happens. That's
what
when you're
made you
centered.
say this?
Yeah, like my negative emotions, negative thoughts ko kura गर्ने नि त. So like I said, when I'm like really मेरो त्यो environment एकदमै negative, मेरो energy नै negative भएको बेलामा चाहिँ it's quite difficult for me to kind of practice अलिकति, you know, like positivity then हुन्छ नि. So I try to kind of sit with those emotions, okay? I kind of try to befriend those negative emotions because then I'd be discriminating between my emotions हुन्छ नि. Then it's not equal, you know. So when I can't really appreciate मेरो so to say bad emotions, होइन, how am I ever going to appreciate the good emotions जस्तो okay? Yeah, if there's no bad, then there's no good, you know. If there's no yin, there's no yang भने जस्तो okay? It was quite interesting.
That's life.
Yeah. It was lovely talking to you, Asmi.
Same here.
Therapeutic भयो एकदमै.
म चाहिँ बोल्नलाई मात्रै हैन, just सुन्नलाई पनि आएको जस्तो भयो, because I got to learn so much from you.
Oh, same.
Yeah, so this was very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Calming.
It's very zen, like I said in the
This is probably
beginning.
the calmest part of my day. Like आजको चाहिँ.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah.
Morning was little.
You mentioned.
It was filled with anxiety and so this conversation really calmed me down. Thank you.
So
and it's making me think.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna go back home with good energy.
Yeah.
Good energy.
I'm glad.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, I think we've come to the end of the podcast now. I had a lovely time talking to Asmi, and I hope you guys would have the same kind of, I don't know, like energy or time listening to us as well. So thank you so much. We'll see you on the next episode.